حياكم الله في حلقة جديدة من بودكاست فوتون. معاكم أختكم دكتورة شيخة العبيدلي. Today we are honored and pleased to have a special guest. We are happy to have Professor John Damilakis. He's a professor of medical physics in the School of Medicine, University of Crete, and he is the president of the IOMP, the International Organization of Medical Physics. He has a lot of contribution in the field of X-ray dosimetry. Welcome, Dr. John Damilakis, to our podcast. We are honored to have you here and pleased to host you in Kuwait during the MEFOMP conference in February 2025.
Thank you, Shakha. It is an honor for me to be here and participate in this great conference. I'm looking forward to all activities. We have just started the first day, right?
First day, yes.
First day. So we still have more days for to exchange knowledge, discuss with our colleagues here in Middle East. So I'm very happy.
We are very happy to have you.
Thank you.
Yes. Can we please ask you about your start in the medical physics field? How did you get to know about medical physics? How was it back then? And where did you do your studies? And where do you work now?
Okay. Interesting question. The reason I'm saying this is because when I started actually I realized that this discipline, this area, this field exists in 1978. I was very young.
You're still young.
Thank you. Yeah. At that time, there was no internet, by the way.
Yes.
Communication was not easy. It's not, nowadays, it's very easy. But at that time, it was not easy to get info about, for example, medical physics. So I started asking questions to my professors. At that time, I was... it was my first year as a physics student. So I started asking questions and reading books. I still remember it was not easy to receive some information. Where my main, of course, I understood. Discussing with my professors what medical physics is, but my main concern was that in my country, Greece, there was no any regular medical physics course, MSc course. So at that time, there was one course, but not regular. So it was, every 3-4 years. So I had to go abroad. I went to British Embassy. I got some info about British MSc courses, and I finally decided to go to Guildford, University of Surrey. So I did my MSc degree there in medical physics, and then I returned back home. I did my PhD in the School of Medicine, University of Crete. By the way, I was born in Crete, and
our favorite island. Beautiful island.
A beautiful island, I returned back home in Crete, where I did, as I said, my PhD, and that's how I started. By the way, when I went to Crete, I was the first medical physicist in Crete.
Oh wow!
Not in Greece, in Crete. So it was not that easy. I was the first medical physicist, and my main responsibilities was dose optimization in computed tomography. I worked in a general hospital there. Also to establish a nuclear medicine department. And first I developed the in vitro part of the nuclear medicine department, I also started preparing the ground for the in vivo part, gamma camera. And then I moved from the general hospital to the university hospital. The university hospital was established in 1989. So I moved from the general hospital to the university hospital and then to the University of Crete, School of Medicine. So yeah, I experienced all these difficulties, how to establish departments, how to persuade people that medical physics is important. I still remember that the director of the general hospital, when I arrived there, he was very curious to see this exotic bird, medical physicist.
Yes.
Did
they ask for you, or you went by yourself to, look for a job?
Oh,
Actually,
It was, at that time, it was a decision by the government. They installed, I don't remember the exact number, 6, 7, 8 computer tomography systems.
Yes.
It was the new technology at that time. CT, an unknown imaging system. And it was a governmental decision that all these hospitals, all of them were big general hospitals, so all these hospitals with CTs need a medical physicist.
Okay.
So I applied. As I said, Crete, I was born in Crete.
Yes.
So I was very happy.
Yes.
I moved from Athens. I was working at that time in a big company. Can I say the name? I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe it is an advertisement, so I will avoid. The big company in the in the medical department, CT, MRI. Again, at that time it was something very, very state of the art. It was advanced, the most advanced medical systems, the tomographic systems, CTs and MRIs. And then I moved from Athens to Heraklion, Crete.
What do you think was the biggest misconception people had about your job as a medical physicist when you started as the first one in Crete?
They didn't have any misconception. Simply, they didn't know my profession.
Okay.
And the first year when I started working in the general hospital, was it the first or the second? I don't really remember exactly. But it was the Chernobyl accident.
Oh, wow.
And I was the only radiation scientist. So I was the source of info for the local authorities. So I started making measurements. We had the in vitro at that time, the in vitro department. So I started measuring. I remember one day it was raining, April. After a few days after Chernobyl. And I actually measured radioactivity because of the rain, probably. And I was excited because I was able, as a medical physicist, without any instruments, in fact, only with a gamma counter, very, very simple. I was able to measure and inform people that there is something. It is not the background, it is above the background.
That's amazing,
exciting.
Actually. It's an exciting, I think, for people to know that medical physics actually affect their lives. It's not just something that, you're stuck in an office or doing some calculations.
And of course, many challenges.
Of course.
Since then,
What do you think was the biggest challenge you faced starting out in the field, and maybe the challenge that's still not solved to this day?
Difficult to prioritize. I don't really, probably the biggest challenge was to establish a department without many resources, with something very small, starting first by communicating with the university and university hospital and general hospital authorities to persuade them how important medical physics is, and starting, also collaborating with neighboring specialties, radiologists, nuclear medicine physicians, radiation oncologists. Radiation, it was not a problem to develop relationships and cooperations with radiation oncologists, because they know we are important players in radiation oncology, but also at least partly with nuclear medicine.
Yes.
With diagnostic radiology, not that easy.
Yes.
So you have to be very active, and I keep saying that imaging physicists, and especially medical physicists working in diagnostic radiology and interventional radiology, must be very good. You cannot be average.
Yes.
Why? Because there is no routine. I mean, a routine is quality control, that sort of thing. But you have to take initiatives, and you have to cooperate with them. And the routine is to answer their questions, perhaps. In a university hospital, they have many interesting questions. So every day is a different day. There is no routine. In other words, your routine is to every day to try to, it's sort of applied research.
Yes.
Okay? So, for example, to optimize a computed tomography or an MRI protocol, this is not a routine. You have to study. You have to, some kind of self-learning is needed. Nobody's gonna provide you courses. So especially in isolated areas, islands, for example. I know that there are many countries like this. In Philippines, there are so many islands, and I know that people, they cannot find mentors. So one of my suggestions to young colleagues would be to be patient, and self-learning is
self-interest.
Very important. Now, these days, there are so many sources of info, and very, very, very easily accessible.
Yes.
So you can study, learn, and for diagnostic and interventional radiology, this is our routine: to study, learn, and then implement what we have already read, communicate with radiologists,
yes,
and nuclear medicine physicians, and interventional radiologists, and clinicians in general. So some kind of communication skills are needed. Another advice or suggestion to young colleagues: communication skills are essential in our profession. You have to collaborate with so many different healthcare professionals. I am saying this because some young colleagues I know, young students and very young people, they are shy, isolated. You cannot be isolated in a clinical environment.
Do you think this is where we can see the role of professional societies come in handy in actually getting people out of their shells and maybe try to introduce them to other professionals in the field?
I'm not quite sure if this is the role of professional societies or scientific societies.
Yeah.
I think that each person separately should make an effort to communicate with other people.
Yeah. So what is the role then of the professional societies, do you think?
There are
the biggest role.
many roles. Just to give you an idea, IOMP has many committees. So there is the Science Committee, the Education and Training Committee, Professional Matters Committee, and so on and so forth. So we develop guidelines, we provide education. It is not always easy to provide education. Providing education means that you have to organize webinars, you have to organize workshops. By the way, during this conference, we organize a workshop, as you might know, on AI and computed tomography dosimetry. This is not easy because this is hands-on.
Yes.
So it's not only theory, it is also practicals.
Yes.
So organizing webinars, organizing workshops, organizing conferences. As an example, IOMP organizes two main events. One is the International Conference of Medical Physics, and the other is the World Congress of Medical Physics.
Yes.
To organize an international conference, you can imagine.
Yes.
Okay. So we develop guidelines. Of course, we deal with professional matters, issues. We are supporting colleagues from all over the world. To some countries, many countries, still don't have medical physics societies.
Yes.
So we try to encourage colleagues there. There are always few colleagues. So if some criteria are met, then we encourage colleagues to create societies, to establish societies. There are many also. We have an accreditation board to accredit courses all over the world. Again, it's a global initiative. An awards committee to give awards, to encourage colleagues award colleagues. So, the professional and scientific society, of course, we cooperate with major international organizations such as the WHO, the IAEA. We have official relationships with them. We cooperate, we support them, they support us. And by the way, we are volunteers.
Yes.
We are not in any payroll.
So why do you think you do it? Why do you think now you are the president of the IOMP? What do you feel that drives you to be a part of these professional societies? As you said, we are all volunteers. We do all of these arranging and organization of these events, just because.
Just because I feel, honestly, it is my obligation to do that.
Yes.
I feel obliged. I feel that I have to do this. I have to do something for my profession because I am what I am because I'm a medical physicist.
Yes.
At least from the professional point of view. I mean, okay, we have personal lives, we have families, but the profession, I mean, it's one basic characteristics of your personality, of your... I believe that people who can, and I believe all medical physicists can, one way or another, participate in committees or can become officers and presidents of their societies, medical physics societies. This is extremely important. We need volunteers.
Yes.
In IOMP, in all regional organizations, I was FIOMP president some years ago, the European Federation.
Yes.
Also in all regions and all countries. At that time, I tried very hard to encourage colleagues in Europe to participate in committees, support FIOMP as much as possible. we cannot develop medical physics otherwise.
It's true.
And
I
by
absolutely agree.
By developing the
Yeah.
profession,
Yeah.
we develop ourselves. I mean,
Of course. That's, I think, a great quote. By developing the profession, you develop yourself.
yeah.
I think a lot of probably the youngsters will think, okay, but why would I take more responsibilities? Why would I be involved in this? More headache for me involving these organizations.
It is.
But I think maybe if they see the benefit of such a organization.
The benefit is the satisfaction after all these initiatives. When, for example, when you organize an event, okay. The benefit, it is the internal satisfaction. You feel
proud.
Yes, not only proud. If the event is successful, and all these events are successful, because if you start organizing an event, then this means that you put a lot of effort. Then this is not something small, because you encourage the whole team, a team like this conference, for example. How many people?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Exactly.
Yes.
So all these people, I'm quite sure that they feel proud. After the event, they feel that they did something very important. They conveyed the message, the message of medical physics throughout the world.
Yeah. I think when
Everywhere.
we start, this is my personal experience, when we start actually preparing for such a conference or organizing such a conference, at the first steps, like, oh, I don't think we can do it. It's just too big, you know? And you think like everything is just not coming together. But in the end, you see it and you see the results and you feel very happy. It's like, oh, I can do it actually. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You will see that after this event, after some days, you will go back and think about all these activities. Not only you, of course, as an example. And you will feel really
happy that I did it.
Happy.
And of course, meeting people from different backgrounds, different experiences.
That's another point.
Building, connections with the professionals in the field.
And then slowly you know people from other countries, and then you meet them in other events. And this is an excellent way to have relationships and with people in other countries. This is exciting, I believe.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. John.
You're very welcome.
Pleasure having you. And thank you for giving us this time to have this chat with you.
Very happy to talk to you.
Thank you so much.